Hey guys, NC85. I was perusing AR-15.com and visiting one of the industry forums for one of my favorite companies, Battle Arms Development, and I came across some threads that were started, or actually they were pinned to the top, about certain issues that people were having with their badass safeties. Not really issues per se, but I've been using Battle Arms Development safeties since I started getting into AR-15s. So I know the issues that they're talking about, but I just want to address some of them because I think maybe I might be able to help out. So the first issue that people complain about is the gap. And the gap that they're talking about is the gap that's between the receiver and the lever on the safety. Okay. Now the reason that that gap exists is not because of Battle Arms Development. The reason that gap exists is because of the variance in tolerances in receivers. I have 3 different receivers here made by 2 different manufacturers, 2 by Mega, 1 by Reaper Tactical. This is a forged lower, then I have a billet lower, and then another forged lower. So just to give you an example here of why that gap exists is because of the thickness of the receiver. This is my Mega forged lower. So this is at 0.870. Okay, now that one's forged. So now we'll do the billet. 0.8785. It's a little wider there. And here's the Reaper Tactical forged. 0.895. So as you can see, there is variances there with the receivers, and the Battle Arms Development safety selector, they machine things so meticulously over there. Their levers aren't going to be any different. So there's not going to be any issues with snagging or anything like that. It's purely aesthetic. Don't let it bother you. Now the second issue is the difficulty of use. This one's pretty easy, whereas maybe this one is a little bit more difficult. Okay, now these are all short throw selectors. Now the reason for that is a couple things too. One is going to be your grip. There's going to be different types of grips. There's a LaRue Tactical, Magpul MOE Plus. I got a Umbrella Corporation Grip 23 on this one. And why does the grip matter? Well, as you can see here, I have 4 different grips. I have 2 that came from mil-spec kits. I have a Magpul K2 and a Magpul Myad. I went ahead and stuck these Q-tips in here to the depth of the safety selector spring hole, and I marked them. So we're just going to take a look at the difference here in the depths of these holes. And the reason that the depth of the holes matter, as you can see here, I'm going to try and get these all level. There's a little bit of a variance there. This one's deeper, so that one's going to be easier to use the selector than the other 3, which are pretty much the exact same. This one's a little bit lower, so maybe this one might be a little bit harder to use because it's shallower. And that is because there's more spring tension on the detent because the hole is shallower. If it was longer, the spring would have more room to expand. So a quick and easy fix for that is you take your selector spring and a pair of wire cutters, and just a coil at a time, just snip it off. And then what I typically do is, because both sides are actually flat on the spring when you get it, I put the side that I've now clipped down into the grip so the detent sits nice and flat on the spring. So you can sit there and finely tune your your safety spring on all your lowers if you want to get them to change, because obviously there's going to be a variance in the thickness of the receiver as well, how far that detent has to travel. So just some tips from being a Battle Arms Development safety user for many years. I figured I'd share that. Hopefully some of you find it helpful. Also gives you a little bit of insight into that each manufacturer is different and they all have different tolerances and variances, so keep that in mind. Hopefully this was helpful. Have a good day.